So let's start. Sorry for the delay. Allow your feet to touch. Bring your head top up to the highest point. Take a deep breath. Bring your hands together in the center. And then do your initial calibration. Starting from the top, pull your head top, the crown chakra. Feel that there's power going up. And then relax your brow, open your vision, open your nostrils, open your sinuses in the front. Activate the corners of your mouth for a half smile. Connect the tongue to the upper palate. The chin is tucked, which means the ears are over top of the shoulders, so we don't want to have anything pushing forward or turning. Shoulders roll back, chest is hollow. Expand your neck, so stretching the back of your neck. Using the center to support. So what does that mean? The abs in the middle are holding everything up, and your tailbone can relax and sink. Fold the insides of your hips, lifting the base of the torso while we're breathing. So pulling up on the pelvic floor. Relax your knees. Try to relax your calves. Expand your ankles, pull your heels in, grip your toes, and activate your whole foot. And then from there, take a deep breath. Relax. We're going to start with some Qigong. So, breathing, make it your first stretch of the day. So reach all the way up as far as you can. Reach out to the sides, breathing deep. There's not really too much to talk about with the form on this Qigong that we're practicing right now. It's very straightforward. But there is something to talk about as far as the theory. Go at your own pace, breathe long, relaxed, deep breathing. And while you're doing the Qigong, put something in your mind. You should have some idea. My idea for this Qigong that we do at the beginning of class is power up. It's in the morning, maybe early for some people if you're catching the live class from the West Coast. So before you start your day, power up. If you know you're going to have a big day, you eat a big breakfast. Before you go on a road trip, you gas up or charge up your car. Before you go to use the power tools, you make sure all of the battery packs are loaded. The same with us, so we can stretch, relax, and take in lots of energy. So this is a Tai Chi idea. Power up before you do the thing. Do 3 more. Make them more relaxed, deeper breaths, a little bit longer stretch. And when you finish, return back to Tai Chi Harmony. Okay, let's warm up a little bit. Let's stretch. Let's start with the head and neck. And this is, the first part is a diagnostic, so lock your shoulders and start to make some small circles, but while you're extending the head top up. So I want you to get in touch with your neck, the base of the neck where it connects to the top of the spine, the upper back and shoulders, and expand that whole area from where your hands are to the top of the head, pushing up the whole time. You can turn, you can go side to side, go at your own pace, but expanding all of that. When you finish, return back to the center, relax your arms. We're going to do some shoulder turns. So go at your own pace, breathing deep. While you're doing this, focus on your spinal alignment. So go back to thinking about, because what happens is when we start doing these shoulder rolls, face starts going forward. So I want you to maintain the perfect spinal alignment while we're doing this. If you haven't changed directions, change directions. And then we're going to add something. I want you to turn left, just your head, while you're doing the shoulder roll. But I want you to keep everything lined up vertically. So when you turn to the side, I don't want you to tilt or twist. Keep it vertical. You can make the shoulder roll slower. This is like walking and chewing gum at the same time. Change directions. We're just turning the head back and forth while the shoulders are moving. The most important part is to keep the vertical alignment in the spine. Come back to the center. Let's do something else for the neck as well. Grab one of your ears, reach out in line, and then stretch the fingers. Feel like you're trying to reach through something. Keep your head top straight. So push up through the back of the neck, breathing to expand. Relax on your own. Change on your own. Pull the head top all the way up. Relax your tailbone down. And then reach your fingertips like you're stretching, like you're trying to push through a glove. Expand your energy. Keep your spine straight. The chin should definitely be tucked. Come back to the center. Relax. Next, this is working on the shoulders. You don't have to take the forward backwards stance, but you can add to this one. Allow your hands to hit in the back if you can. Lower is better. And what is the goal for this one? Same thing, take a break if you're still doing it. On this one, we want to make sure the spine is very straight. And so imagine that your spine and your structure, your torso is like this set of pens. You want to take your spine and be doing this, but you want the base, you want the structure to be stable. So the spine has to be upright. If this ruler was not stable, it would just bend, it wouldn't mess it with any of this material around it. So keep your spine straight and stable, and then go back to this one. And we're going to add something. The same thing, turning. I want you to turn your head left and right, pushing up the whole time as if you're extending through the head top. You can go at your own pace. You may find one side is more difficult than the other. All right, next, we're gonna do something similar, but on this next one, I don't want you to relax your arms basically from your shoulder to your wrist. I want you to keep stable. So like you have a rock on the end of a bar. And we're gonna do the same thing. So make your feet firm, and keep a fist as well. We're not trying to hit them in the back. We're trying to use this solid structure to pry on the front. So just making, like, if you see this from the top, it would look like two parentheses. It's like not a full circle. So pull your head top up there. And then the same thing, looking right and looking left. We're going to do one more of these, and before we do, I want to talk about some motion. Let's just do this one. If we just let our hands swing like this, straight, as if they're on a track, it's not as ergonomic as if they turn in an arc. So very early when I met TC, he said to protect your shoulders. The shoulders, if you look from like sort of top down from the camera, they move in an arc like this. So if we just do this type of movement, unless the spine is turning, it's incorrect. If the spine is straight, this creates wear and tear. The shoulders are meant to sort of follow a skirt shape around the body. So this type of movement is good for the shoulders. Let's continue one more for this type of thing. Same thing. This one is, you can practice these while you're walking. It's the same thing we just did, but with the arms bent. So we want to keep a fist, and we want to keep the shape, this L shape here. And the same thing, so your elbows now are on that track, that parentheses on each side. Push your head top up. This is kind of a funny one. This looks like an old style boxer getting ready to fight, right? And they want to do this thing. They got this. This. So, but keep this section firm so that when the arms go back, the deltoids, the shoulders, pecs, pectorals, all of that is opening. You can turn your palms down and think about like you're hitting back. You want to hit something in the back. And then when you come back to the center, relax. Turning. Same thing, keeping the spine lined up. Keep breathing, same long breathing that we started with. The idea for this one that I want you to experience is if, like I have a cowl here, and you see if I spin it from the top, what happens? Everything is relaxed. So I want you to have your head top up there. And just like the towel, let all of the muscle, bone, and tendon from underneath it relax. And then stabilize for a second. So breathe deep, relax, allow your shoulders also to go on vacation. Keep the spine straight, relax your tailbone to sink vertically, and feel the blood in your fingertips. Relax for a second. My teacher used to say power to the fingertips. And he would say this because we have movements in the form, crane for instance, that looks like the fingertips. We might be blocking with the heel of the palm, but we can use all the way to the fingertips. And the reason, the motivation for this is power has to be going all the way to the extents all the time. The minute the power starts to recede, we start to lose our chi. So when you see a bug that's been swatted, they're all balled up. When you see people that have a lot of neurodegenerative diseases, start from the outside and they work their way in. So what is the optimal way to get power to our fingertips? Is with our consciousness. When you reach out, if you can feel the chi going all the way to your hand or beyond it. So does it matter if we use a technique? If we do this one, how many here can, when you practice that, you can feel your fingertips get kind of fat with blood, right? Yeah, you should. You should have this type of experience. In fact, the same when we're hitting this type of stimulation draws energy all the way to the end. When we're young people, they don't need to do that. The energy is going to the end. But as we age, the power starts to go into the center. The same when people freezing. The reason they're losing fingers, toes, nose first is because the power goes into the center. So when we're practicing stuff like get power to the end of the fingertips, you don't need to practice this one to get the chi to the end if you can. If you're older, if you know people that are older, if your energy is collapsing to the center, we can use these type of exercises to get power to the end. We have them for the leg as well. Maybe we should work on some butterfly kisses today. Those are very confusing. Let's continue. Bending at the waist, grip your toes, push your tailbone back and away, and relax your spine. Grip your toes, maintain the same long, deep, relaxed breathing while you're upside down. And what we had just talked about a second ago, we see the energy going to the ends of the fingertips. The same thing, really relax your head and neck. Breathing deep. When you're ready, grip the ground. We're going to unroll all the way to the top, reach all the way up. Take a deep breath. Relax. Let's do one more of those. Grip the ground, push the tailbone back away. When you're ready, connect to the ground. Lift the pelvic floor, inflating all the way up. Expand, make it the longest, most relaxed breath and stretch up today. Look all the way up there and relax. Let's actually do something. This is, in my class, I said one of the things that one of the stretches that we're missing is in Mandarin is called pubu, which means low stance, and it's this one. And the benefit for the body for this one is the inside of the leg here, and can be the back of the leg here as well. So the inside and the back. But one of the best tendon stretches is if we do something like this, putting this thing here, and then folding forward. This stretch, by the way, is called Buddha's pillow, and the Buddha's pillow is the foot, so your spine should be able to reach all that way. That's another story. So one of the it's actually a Kung Fu, yoga, Tai Chi exercise that TC used to teach that is really awesome for stretching the hamstring. If you can't, we said this kind of vertical stretching. In the class, we do this one. We're going to change today. We're going to do something different and learn something. By the way, yoga has a posture where you're facing downward, something like that. This next one we're going to do in two parts. For those of you that know it, this will be a review. For those just learning, this is something new. I don't know the name for these in Mandarin. I don't know that I was taught for it. They're affectionately called butterfly kicks. So we're going to start with just the bottom half. And if I'm standing on one foot, I'm going to, I'll face the camera first, is bring one knee up and over as if I'm putting my knee in front of the other knee directly, kicking forward and returning. So there's sort of, if I turn, I'm turning my knee in, out, forward, back. So there's a loop if you look from different angles. I'm covering my center. My knee is not going straight, it goes straight and is straight to resolve. So like a circle, like I'm making a circle with my foot. And the power delivery for that circle is the front of the circle. The second half of the circle we don't care about, so it can be half circle, kick, kick. And what does the power look like? This is Tai Chi, so it's very lazy. Bringing the knee up and letting the heel go forward. Knee up, heel, knee up, heel, knee up, heel. But making that circular shape. In fact, TC would describe it as half of a Tai Chi. Questions, this is very simple. Circle, kick. The next part is where it becomes complex. So if you cross your hands like this, the wrist, base of the wrists touching, and then bring the backs of the hands together this way. And when you do that, make sure the forearms are rolling. So I can just try to turn my hands, and you see my arms don't move that much. Instead, I want you to roll the forearms till the palms are almost out and touching this way. Can you see the space between my hands? We want to keep that space in between there. And the movement for this is just like, kind of like what we were doing, swing hands, but they're going to come up. And they're going to cross opposite sides each time. So left hand on the inside, right hand on the inside, left hand on the inside, right hand on the inside. Now combining, we have this, cross, oh, we forgot the last part. After the backs of the hands are facing each other, just allow them to relax. So they come up, flip back to back, going back to this. So just practice this one standing. Scoop, this is where the term butterfly comes from. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now combine with the feet. We're going to go slow to start. So hands coming up together in the center, foot crossing the center line. As the kick goes out, the hands turn and go down. So scoop, 2, 3. Scoop, 2, 3. And this should all be one movement. We break it down into parts. What's happening here? You can keep practicing, you can watch the video, you can focus on your breathing. The idea is if power is coming, right? Power is coming to my center. This is the block. So if we have a block, if power is going right to my center, this, and my other hand is coming in on the other side to secure, to make sure that that weapon item doesn't get through. So imagine my center line is here. If power is coming to the center, my main goal is the hand I'm going to catch it with. But I'm catching it from the inside, kind of like grasp the sparrow's tail. So scoop, turn, release. Scoop, turn, release. And combine that with the kick. The kick, by the way, very, very important. Make sure that your toe is pointing up so that the back of the leg is as long as it can be and the front of the leg is as short as it can be. Combine, kick. Combine, kick. So this kick and pull are happening at the same time. What's happening here is if I have an opponent and they're reaching, I'm catching their arm, and when I pull and kick at the same time, it's doubling the power. Should feel very powerful. Without an assistant here, I will not be able to explain this one. For those of you that have studied with TC or with myself and have seen the application for this one, if you can imagine my arm, we're catching that arm, that wrist in between that space. So if I remember, the Mandarin name for this has something about, there's like a trap, like to trap, to catch here, right? So then we're literally doing like a hook and whip or grasp a sparrow over the top to catch, pull and kick at the same time. This mechanism happening to double the power. So by the way, the purpose of all of this was this heel stretch. And the idea is that you're throwing your heel out there. You have to keep the toe up. If you don't, imagine that the bones in your leg are like oranges in a sock. And if you go to do a slinky on that sock, all of the oranges are going to slide to the end of it. So if you just put your toe here and you do that kind of snapping motion, the tendons, the muscles, everything can become unseated, unaligned. So keep your toe up and then get that free floating feeling. This is, by the way, one of the best. Stretching the hamstrings is critical. And for years and years, especially when I was competing, I did this one every day, several times a day. I highly recommend it. And when my practice first started, I was told by an incompetent yoga teacher, don't stretch your hamstrings every day, you can damage them. And then I met Master Sue, and I realized the truth. So this one is awesome for hamstring stretching if you do it correctly. Did we miss anything? Let's do some ankle rotations. So lock one foot, take a stance that's comfortable enough. Keep your other toe on the ground and draw circles with your ankle. Change directions if you haven't. Remember to breathe deep. And then change. By the way, when we do these, or even when we're not doing these, did you change directions on these? Are you still breathing deep? If you hear popping, your knuckles, your wrist, your elbow, this is a sound of air leaving the joint. Unless there's an injury or some type of old injury, and even in that case, popping is generally air interacting with the joint. Let's do Tai Chi. We're just going to do the first section. We're going to practice pretty slow, and we're going to talk about one of the movements that is reoccurring. That kind of looks like something that we were just doing a second ago. This rolling. We're going to look at punch right and punch left. But before we do, let's do some Tai Chi. If you have questions, by the way, you can blurt them out at any time. I think I muted everybody, right? Yeah, that's Steve. That's correct. So let's add, before we do the form, let's actually do this posture. So make your feet shoulder width wide or better. And this posture is coming off of, we have just returned tiger to mountain. And we do form a cross. And then let the power fall. So breathing, make this nice circular shape come up. And then once you reach the apex, how heavy can you make your arms, right? We did an exercise last week with this free fall, where if we reach all the way up the center, or if some people, I said, put your hand here, feel the weight of your arm. How heavy is it? If you had the top of your arm, what we would call the chest, this is actually part of your arm extension that goes out, your shoulder, your bicep, forearm, all of this. If you took that off and held it, how heavy would it be? It's very heavy. So get the full weight of that moving. So in the form, what's happening, I'll face some different angles. We return tiger to mountain, right, left, we come up, and then form a cross is this rolling here, and then it's just the return power. So after it's up here, right, left, let's do the form, and then we'll look at this posture some more. So from return tiger to mountain, right, left, lifting, form a cross, which is rolling, punch right, punch left, and then return back to Tai Chi Harmony. By the way, this last exercise this last movement is a great exercise in controlling rebounded energy. One of the purposes for this last posture, if we take it and apply it, combine grasp the sparrow's tail left and right with the, what is it called? I think it's called punch, split punch, something like this, right? So combine these two, so where you have a fist, instead of just light, put power at the end and turning, punch, punch. What do we say about grasp the sparrow's tail? The reason in Tai Chi we use in a circle and we don't have a lot of straight power is because power can be made at any point along the circle. So if I just stand here and do grasp the sparrow's tail left and right, whether I make a fist or not, I can deliver power at any point off of that circle. So I'm trying to think of a mechanical apparatus that works the same way. You can think of your arm like a spinning disc, and it delivers the power when it stops. So if we keep, this is one of the reasons for more advanced practitioners, people that want to learn the form. The reason the Tai Chi looks good is because the circles are always complete, they're always moving, and we can generate power at any point along that curve. So let's do the first section. We'll come back and talk about the movement. Make sure that you're on camera if you are on the screen. Bring your head top up, grip the ground, relax your tailbone, relax your shoulders. Breathing deep, bring your energy to the center in the Dantian. We're going to open shoulder width wide, expand, and lowering the spine vertical in place to Tai Chi, Chi Chi. Relax your tailbone, breathe deep, open the shoulders, looking forward, grasp the sparrow's tail left, step forward, right, left, ward off. Breathing, looking forward, grasp the sparrow's tail left, step forward, ward off. Roll back, turning. Join the palms. This is called press. Facing north, breathing. This is called push. Shift back, turning the upper part left, look left. Shifting the upper part right, glance right. Shuang on is double press. Horizontal, split hands. Diaosho is hook. Single whip. I'm going to turn my feet, my square shape, back to the north. This is split, brush, connect the wrists and roll up into fists. Roll back down. We're going to turn 90 degrees to the west. This is crane, opens the wings. Play the harp. Brush past the knee. Warning palm. Square step back. The name for this in Mandarin is white crane opens its wings. But being white in an age of grace, I just say crane opens the wings. Brush knee, C-step, palm press, brush knee, C-step, press, holding the moon in the chest. Banlan Shui. Just move, parry, punch, and then to the other side. Move, parry, turning to the north. This is return tiger to mountain. And once we send the tiger, the posture changes to form a cross, split punch. And then from here, we bring everything back to the center. Before I continue, questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? All right, I didn't see somebody doing something. Before we continue for split punch, let's talk about return tiger to mountain. I'm going to get a prop here so that we have something to see. For this one, by the way, this is if somebody is kicking, could be a weapon coming in, could be a punch or some type of extension this way. And the idea is that it's a low attack, right? So I'm going to use this stick here maybe to visualize what the hands are doing. We have everything is Tai Chi theory, right and left, which one goes first, and which one's on top and which one's on the bottom. Wow. So if I don't know if this is clear, I will try to bring it more close to the camera so that you can see my hands. Maybe it's far away. Yeah, looks like I'm on camera. So the right hand goes in underneath. The left hand is going to cross both the stick and the left hand. If I put the left hand underneath, the stick can roll off or escape. If I put the left hand in between, just like we had talked about earlier, closing the backs of the hands this way, if I go one and then wedge in there, I can actually control this, right? Just with my forearms like this. So that's the purpose. The purpose of that setup is the make contact portion of that. We have one, which is getting underneath it. We could carry it with one. The other side comes into pinch and close so that we can send it out. By the way, the second part of that, how many here have played volleyball and had some instruction on? I don't know what the name of the thing is, but you want to, for that one, you want to cross your hands, but try to keep the forearms level. In this one, it's similar, because if your forearms are turned, it's going to affect the trajectory of the thing that you throw off of there. So if you catch something, the feeling is like volleyball. To send it, we're not sending it up, because if I have the chi, right, and it's here, and I go to send it up, it can come back to get me, right? It can come back to hit me in the face. Go ahead, I ask you a question, yeah.
So, Brian, would it be a general rule of thumb that whichever hand goes down first, the other arm comes in on top as opposed to underneath?
It's a between, right? So if it goes underneath, in fact, let me see if I can get something closer to the camera so we can see. Let's just change the height here and let's see if this works. So if you see this, if I put this hand here and this hand underneath it,
Right.
you see that stick is free to move on its own. It can actually still fly up, right?
Yep.
I have the support for both hands, but this one is just supporting. I have the strength for both hands. But now, if I put this underneath, and then I'll do a yin-yang so you can see, and then I wedge this one here, technically it's kind of the same thing, except I now have this added advantage where I can close that. So if the stick wants to still pop up, I can prevent it from doing so with my forearms. You have to take a stick or another person. This, by the way, is meant to be taught with other people, because we need to see if the person was kicking, right? In class, TC would ask people to kick at them and then show the same thing. If the one hand wedges in, we can trap it. If it's just underneath supporting, that leg is still free to do something. We can't close it with our forearms. So that's return tiger to mountain. And remember, like we said, with the power, it's going away, or just like a volleyball, trajectory away from us. We don't want to lift especially this.
And
The question, yeah?
Would you want to default generally to right, left, or can you just adapt that to circumstances as long as the second arm winds up coming in above as opposed to below?
You can do right, left. By the way, this is, sometimes when it comes to Tai Chi theory, the rules can be confusing for people because the rule is flexible. So if we talk about Jinji Du Li, let's practice this one, Golden Rooster standing on one leg, right? The rule is very flexible. We can say right hand, left foot, right hand, right foot, left hand, left foot, right hand, left foot. One of them is Jinji Du Li. The other one, also Jinji Du Li, if we make the full, combine the top and the bottom. So the same thing, in this particular form, after we do Rufeng Sabi, when we're turning to the right. So I think of this first as the catch, because maybe, remember the circles, maybe I don't catch it in time. If power is coming from my side and I'm doing Rufeng Sabi, well, I want to get out of the way and try to catch the thing to send it this way, right? So the avoid, but if we do double press, can you avoid and scoop left? Yes, because maybe you can block it right out of the way and continue on there. It can happen either way, right? It's the yin-yang black and white checkerboard can sort of rotate and be.
And that turn from Rufeng to Return Tiger, is it just heel pivots or is there a step?
You can do either. There's no, I do a combination of both. So, yeah, let's continue. So when I brush and I press, my first one is I am shifting back to turn this heel to get it 90 degrees forward. And then I just step to this other one, right? So if I Rufeng, press, I shift, turn, step. Brush, press, step. I consider that step to be, it's like part of the hua, na da, is if something is and then what do we say? There's other options. So I can turn this foot and turn this foot. They're not going to be parallel because we're coming from a square step here. So press. I can step. Remember the transitions, this is sort of like classical music. The notes were written down. It may have requests on timing, but good conductor is going to take the music, understand what the writer was getting at, the composer was getting at, and play it the way that they think. So Tai Chi, when we talk about grasp the sparrow's tail left and right, can be used any way that you can imagine it. It's these postures that for people that are trying to learn the form, it's the name of the thing. When I do grasp the sparrow's tail, why don't we do grasp the sparrow's tail like if there's a little bird sitting right there, just pluck. Why don't we do that? You could. But I'll tell you, the Tai Chi way to do it, the fastest way that's going to enable you to actually catch that little bird that you want, is to make a circle that ends up on top to catch. The straight line going from here to here is not the fastest. It may be the most direct, right? If I'm trying to get from A to B, this one may be the straightest line. But imagine you have a rocket, and the rocket can go faster as it continues. So this rocket may get A to B in a more direct line, but the rocket that can accelerate on the spiral can actually travel the same distance, potentially faster. So the idea is grasp the sparrow's tail, I catch, and ward off. What is ward off? This is not somebody somewhere made a drawing of it and made notes about what ward off is. Ward off is ward off, and you can practice it any way that you like. Remember, we said there's a square base. What if I want my square base to be big like a sumo wrestler and do ward off like this? Can you do it? Yes, of course. This is where Tai Chi becomes confusing for people, because there's a bunch of rules, but then there's kind of not a lot of rules. And so we want to make sure that we're doing the things that we're doing. Grasp the sparrow's tail. If I do this, it can be kind of correct, but what's more correct is if I have my whole structure, right? So learning the form. Let's practice again with that in mind. You don't need to do anything. And when I say grasp the sparrow's tail, you can try to catch the bird. When I say ward off, if you have some idea, different idea for ward off, you can practice it that way. The Tai Chi principles will teach you to keep your alignment so you don't wreck your body, and also how to maximize the free power, whether it's from gravity or whether it's from the turning, right? Ru Feng Sibi is a horizontal, right? I have someone in front of me. They were playing rolling hands, push hands, something is happening. And their power shoots to the side. They want to try to turn me to the side. I can recover that and use the spine spring-loaded to hit forward. With split form across and split punch are the same. If the power is coming in and I want to roll it up, I have the power. You have to, if you don't have martial arts experience, you have to imagine something's coming forward. You can just block all of that like a curtain that's dragging it away up. And now that all of that potential is there, just let it go. But you can control it. So we had a question this week, viewer mail, if you will. Somebody asked to talk about split punch. And they said it just doesn't seem realistic. There's not going to be two people there standing. If you have guys confronting you or opponents or something like that, they're not going to stand right and left so you can punch them square in the nose while it's there. But remember, this is an idea. Split punch can be used anywhere, anytime, for anything. So if we have, they're not level, sorry. How many here have ever seen the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men? When you drive down the streets of the city, they have a compressor and it's hooked up to a nylon tube that has other nylon tubes that go out of it, and that compressor fills that thing up with air. So while the compressor is charging to build up a round of air, the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man goes to the ground. And then as the air comes up, right, it starts doing this thing. And it's pretty wild, right? It's moving all around, meant to get your attention to get an oil change, right, if you need to get that done. So split punch is a type of Fa Jing that's a culmination of the first section, which is this type of wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men power that we should have. So the concept is I'm drawing energy from the ground, meaning I'm rooting myself and I'm moving my body. Is it already time? This thing's telling me it's time. All right, we need to do all our classes. So let's continue. We want the power to come up through the body and be distributable anywhere. But because we don't want to look like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, we do it with style and power, right? And so this, after we've done this movement, this power returning, we just go right and left. But if I have multiple attackers, people approaching from different angles, I may block one punch. It can happen in a number of different ways, but split punch is a valid technique. You have two opponents. You deal with one, you get to the next. You come back and forth, right? You're continuously changing between who your opponents are. Let's do the Tai Chi form one more time. Make sure that you have a centered spot. Bring your crown chakra as high as you can get it. You can use your muscles, your tendon, your mind, your chi, your imagination. Relax your body underneath it. So while you're standing there, I used this example earlier, just like a clock, there's one point. Everything else relaxing, hanging off of that point. Take a deep breath, bring your hands together in the center. And while we're standing here, feel the hollow space between your hands. Open shoulder width wide. Tai Chi, Chi Chi, the start of Tai Chi. Breathing. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Ward off. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Ward off. Roll back. Press. Push. Look left. Glance right. Double press. Horizontal split. Hook. We're going fast because of time. Just try to breathe and relax. Turning north. This is T, so San Chi. Split. Square step. Roll up. Roll down and turn 90. 4, 5. Hu, 2, 4. Harp. Press. Square step. Back. 5, hu, 2, 4. So a pipa press. Brush knee. C step. Press. Brush knee. C step. Press. Holding the moon in the chest. Bang Shui. Corner. Circles are all connected. Planche. One more. Rufeng. Sleeping. Press. Press. Return tiger to mountain. Cross. Split. Tai Chi harmony. Questions, thoughts, comments, ideas? Let's do a little bit of Qigong to cool down. I'm actually going to do a closing in case we run out of time. So if I miss you, we'll see you the next time. Let's do the same Qigong we started with to close. Nice, long, relaxed, deep breathing. Make it a stretch. And normally I tell you to put something in your mind. And in this case, the thing to put in your mind is I want you to feel your body. I want you to develop your body awareness. So while we're breathing, I want you to feel where the chi in your body is. So you have to become very sensitive, very subtle in the sublime feeling. So soften everything up, relax all of your muscles and tendons, and feel, do you feel it on the outsides of your forearms? Go at your own pace, breathe as much or as little as you like. And then remember to take it with you in the middle of the week while you're doing your thing. Can you stop and soften your whole body and feel where your chi is? For new people, if you're not that sensitive, you might just be feeling, where do I have tension? Why are my shoulders, my back, my jaw, why is my jaw clenched so tight? Being able to stop and make a correction will change the rest of your day. I'm going to do one more. You can continue on. I didn't balance them out. Just kidding, we're just doing one. Allow your feet to touch. Bring your hands together in the center. Leave your eyes somewhere between open and closed, and then move your mind into your dantian. And now the same thing without moving. Where is the chi? Imagine your body is hollow. Make the chi uniform so that it expands to all the parts in the hollow space. Take a second internally to smile to yourself. Take a second internally to give thanks to yourself. There's only one of you. You're unique. So smiling at yourself internally so that you can hear it with your inner ear, take a second to give thanks for you. Breathing deep. That's it. Call, write, text with questions.